Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. Now, this is where I take a deep dive into a particular subject, a particular creator, a particular company, and I kind of go deep into one particular product or one particular range of products. And today, I'm going to talk to you about this. This is Eject by Roddy McGee, Noel Coulter, and Trick Boom. Now, if you watched my Magic Live video, I actually said that Eject was the trick of Magic Live. I said it was the number one best trick that I saw at Magic Live. I stand by that. I think that Eject is absolutely brilliant. I'm a huge fan of both Roddy and Noel. I'm a huge fan of Trick Boom. I think that they are incredible. I think that every single thing that they've brought out has been nothing short of phenomenal. And I think that this is probably this is definitely the best thing they've brought out and has so much versatility. And I remember speaking to Noel about this years before Trick Boom even became a thing. And he was working on this and he was showing it me. And now, years later, to see it's actually come to fruition, it's actually on the market, is amazing. I know how long Noel has been working on this, and I can only imagine the amount of time and effort he's put into making it as good as it is. Now, I will tell you, normally, on a review show special, I do a live performance of the trick. I don't think I need to on this. And the reason is, the trailer shows you a million different ways of this being used. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about everything. I'm going to talk about everything that you need to know about Eject. I'm not going to perform it. And there's a reason. I love this trick so much, I'm going to do a follow-up video. I normally only do one video on a trick. I'm going to do a follow-up video. And I'm actually going to do a video where I'm actually going to perform. I've got some ideas with this that aren't on the tutorial. Some really cool ideas. And I'm going to do a kind of a hows and whys of Eject. And I'm going to go do a ton of performances with it. So that'll be coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But for now, I want to talk to you all about what this is. And it starts with the trailer. So the trailer is very honest and it tells you exactly what you need to know. And you'll see it being used in so many different environments, and it even breaks down exactly what this is. So let's start off by looking at the trailer that you get. Let's have a look at the trailer and you'll see exactly what Eject is. Best trick, the most exciting trick, the most talked about trick of Magic Live 2025. It's Eject by Trick Boom.
Eject is a compact injection molded device that fits perfectly inside a card box, featuring an innovative design composed of 30 precision-engineered components working together seamlessly, with internal locking triggered by a sensor and a viewing window. So at a glance, you know whether you're ready to perform. By rotating the knob, you can adjust the height from 2 to 15 feet, all designed with your performance in mind.
At Trick Boom, we've made a portal only at Magic Live. Watch this. I'll drop a pen in here. No way. And we've got a rubber pen as well.
Sure, that has the rubber pen, but has to be, it goes soft when it travels.
Oh, yeah. They might have seen that before.
Yeah, but then you can...
No way! Eject, the new signature moment in your act.
All right. 1, 2, 3, fire. Ta-da. Yeah, you find it out your butt. Good job.
So first of all, congratulations to Trick Boom for creating an amazing trailer. Very, very different to a lot of the trailers that come out there. And that's something that you see an awful lot with the guys at Trick Boom. But also very, very honest. A lot of trailers, you don't really know what you're getting. It's a bit of a, what am I seeing here? This is very, very honest. You see exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to open this box up and I'm going to show you a few things. I've got 4 of these, just so you know. And the reason I've got 4 is because I love it so much. Ryland and Thea are using it in their show. I'm using it in Close Up. I'm using it in my show. This is brilliant. So I've got 4 of them. But before I actually go any further, I had the chance to sit down and chat with Noel Coulter and Roddy McGee. I sat down and chatted with the guys at Trick Boom and talked to them about Eject. I talked to them about what it is, what it does, everything. It kind of is a warts and all, every question answered type of thing. So before we go any further, I'm going to play that interview with you, for you, and you can see exactly what Roddy and Noel have to say about Eject. Let's have a look at that interview right now. So, like I said in the introduction, I am here with 2 absolute legends in the Magic community. This is the best double act in Magic. This is the best pairing in Magic that we've ever seen. This makes these 2 men make Penn and Teller look lame. These 2 men make Andy and Josh look lame. This is the future of Magic right here on Magic TV. I am, of course, talking about the one and only Noel Coulter and Roddy McGee, who together they are Trick fucking Boom, and they are about to take names and kick ass just like they did at Magic Live when they wiped the floor with every other dealer that was there by bringing out the trick of the Black Magic Live. Now they're going to do it again and bring out probably what's going to be the trick of the year, and I bloody love this thing, and I don't care what anybody thinks. This is amazing. Noel, Roddy, how you guys doing?
Hello. Thanks
Hello.
for being on again to play Magic.
Absolutely. Well, you know what I love about Trick Boom? You guys don't bring out tricks every week, every fortnight, every month. It's really a kind of a special event when a Trick Boom trick comes out. And you allow them to breathe. And the reason you allow them to breathe is because they're all so freaking good. And they all do so well. And they're all so commercial. And one of the things that I love about any product that you guys bring out is it's something that works for pros, but also works for hobbyists and social performers. And I've said this to you before, it's rare to find a trick that will work for hobbyists and social performers and pros, but you guys have managed to kind of walk that line to perfection with every release that you've brought out.
Oh, thank you.
That is very nice. Yes, thank you, as Noah was about to say. But yeah, no, we definitely aim for that. Every single trick has to pass a certain criteria. And if we find that there's a point where, okay, this might be a barrier to entry for someone who's not super confident, then we'll address it. You know, we'll find a way around it without compromising the effect, because you don't want to like dumb something down to the point where it just becomes obsolete. And it's okay to have something that's self-working. You know, it's seen as a kind of derogatory term sometimes in Magic, but some absolute miracles are self-working. When you look at pretty much the entire tenure rate, I know that that's not practical Magic, particularly for like a professional performer, but ingenious, you know.
Yeah. And also, like we create Magic for us to do professionally, but we also, I know that it'll work for, you know, you hear the word amateurs and pros, and the suggestion, or certainly the classic suggestion, was the pros are the capable machines, and the amateurs are the nervous, anxious people. You go, that's not true at all. There's plenty of professional magicians that are terrible, but they get booked, and there's plenty of amazing magicians who don't get paid. That's the only difference between amateur and pros. They work plenty hard, and also the great thing is with if you're an amateur magician, is it gives you different opportunities to perform those tricks that make sense. In fact, I always think, remember the old Darren specials, and you see it a lot, but the Darren specials would always do a thing where they'd have the right trick for the right person in the right place. So you'd have it's Darren doing a chess trick at the chess championships with I don't know, with a giant chess piece behind or something like that. If you're an amateur magician, you get to sort of do those things without realizing. Like, for example, let's say you're doing mini book, right? I mean, just one of our tricks, but like, and somebody talks about in the office, talks about computer problems, that something is IT down, and you're straight into it going, oh, like you could do something a pro could never dream of doing. Going, oh, well, actually, I think I've got the answer. I've got this. This is the new technology that's amazing. Or, but pick any trick you can find in an environment, and maybe you wait for that moment, or maybe you orchestrate that to happen. Saying, driving down the road, let's say little holes. Oh, that's or the what was the thing?
Were you just going to suggest that if you're pulled over at roadworks and there's guys digging a hole, you're like, hey guys, look over here, look at these little holes?
Yeah, all right, maybe not to the traffic light, but like I think there's an environment you could do. There's an interesting way of looking at it. Going, I've got the right trick for the right moment, and maybe you don't want it to look like, I brought too strange an object, but maybe you have, maybe it's okay. But anyway, basically, my point is, amateurs and pros. It always narks me slightly of these super machine pros and the clumsy amateurs. That is not true.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Well, we're talking about Eject here, which has been, I remember you showing me this, or at least I remember you telling me about this about 4 session conventions ago.
Yeah.
I think you showed me this before Trick Trick Boom was even a thing.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you showing me the plans on your iPad. It was and it was like, oh my God, this is what it's going to be. And I was like,
I brought Lloyd to his hotel room for a special personal show. I remember, yeah, it was.
And that was before Trick Trick Boom even existed. And then I remember you at another session convention, you said, I've got it. I've got the first version. And you let me put it in my jacket and have a go. And I felt like a freaking rock star. And so the reason I bring that up is because, there are a lot of Magic releases these days, and a lot of Magic releases are literally just brain farts that just get released, that just really have no reason to be released, and people don't spend the time they should on working on this stuff. This has been in the works for a long time, and I know that you've gone back and forth on dozens and dozens of prototypes. And you've finally got to the point now where you're actually bringing it out. It's incredible.
Yeah, look, we put in tons and tons of effort into it and refining it, and the sort of journey started with me, but then me and Roddy working together, thinking, okay, how do we make this better? What are the issues? And then bringing the guys from Ultramantic who've been amazing, because me and Roddy know magnets and glue and string and things you'd find in the junk drawer and how to make magic tricks out of those. But it's above our pay grades to make proper gadgets. But thankfully, they came in and have been absolutely incredible. So yeah, they've been Longfei and the guys have been phenomenal for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to say it's like it's opened up a whole new avenue for me, because I'm quite happy to tinker away on the little magnets and super glue stuff that we're famous for almost. But then quite often, I was just talking about this today, that quite often I'll invent a gimmick in my head and I'll think that absolutely works. I can see it all moving and everything works. And then the laws of physics take over when I start to make it and I go, okay, that was ridiculous. But the great thing about working with Ultramantic is I can say, oh, can you do a thing that does this? And it does. I feel like Steve Jobs. Do you know what I mean? I want all my music on this, get on it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you can just say to them and they'll come back and say, well, that's possible or it's not, or it might not be possible, but we'll try, So it's very good. And I think this was maybe the fourth prototype. I've got a few here, but here was one we were going with. And for obvious reasons, you can see why we had issues about shipping this around the world. It just fires Sharpies, honestly. It's just, it was so accidental that it looked like that. It was just economy of, and then this little doodah, this little guy who had this single bolt action thing going on here until eventually, we got to this.
So it's finished form, yeah.
which I absolutely love. Now, I think this has been the worst kept secret in magic, in that most of the time when a magic trick comes out, it's like, oh, I've got no idea how that works, or oh, you can't reveal the secret. You guys have been very open about what this is, what it does, what it looks like. You've been very open because you want people to understand what it is that they're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it's really cool. Like when I gave Eject trick of the convention at Magic Live, it was a no-brainer really because everybody was talking about it. Everybody was in the bar firing sharpies off to each other,
Yeah.
taking people's eyes out. Like it's one of those things that, sometimes we forget that magic's meant to be fun. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can take it too seriously. I joked about Andy and Josh earlier, and I love the session convention. I go every year, but I think sometimes the session convention can take itself a little bit too seriously. It's like, oh, theory and theory and theory and theory, and and theory is great, but sometimes it's just fun to shove a really cool gimmick in your pocket and fire a Sharpie up
Oh
in the
yeah.
air and catch it like James Bond. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing with it is that we can approach this as, well, it's not really a magic trick as such, and it's not a stunt, it's a kind of moment. But since we've been working with it over time, then it can become a magic trick in so many ways. It's so versatile. People can use it in their shows. I mean, I use it all the time in my residency, and just the moment of firing it out and catching it, it always gets this "Oh," people laugh, and you get to look sort of fake cool, and like this. Oh, yeah, I was going to say get ready to cut that bit out in case it flies past me, but
Well done.
but the journey really with it, with me coming on board, it was very much about the fun thing. That was the clincher, because Noel talked about the idea, and I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of fun, and yeah. And then the more it went on, he was saying, look, man, everyone's going to want one of these things. It's so good. And I needed a bit of convincing. I was like, yeah, well, I can see certain people might be able to use it. And, it's like I was very set in the whole kind of wacky card trick things. Uh, and then Noel managed to get 2 prototypes made, and he sent one to me. And like anyone who's had this so far from Magic Live will attest to this. The first time, like literally, I put it in my pocket, and the first time I fired it, I caught it, right, which was maybe lucky. But oh my God, the joy of, like, I was standing in my kitchen just over there going, oh, oh, and then I did it again, I caught it. And it's a primal thing almost. It's like, yeah, this is why you play catch as a kid and stuff like that. Being able to just fire it and
The
catch
joy
it.
you get, yeah, absolutely. The joy
Oh,
you get when you fire it, like we've sort of said this, but the truth is, the first time you fire the thing up in the air and you catch it, I reckon, like, I'm not saying you got all your value, but almost like that. Because we've all got tricks. When how have I got a bulldog clip and a rubber band for 50 quid? How is that the trick? You look at this, you go, yeah, I can see where my money went. The thing's injection mold, it's precision made, and when you use it, like you can use it for fun things, silly things, jokes. A moment in your like in the trailer, I say, the new signature moment in your act, and that obviously signature and the duality of the meaning, but also it is a moment that people will say, we've all been there when someone says, I saw a magician, and dot dot dot, and it's put a bottle through a table or something, or it's some confused trick where they half remember the gist of it. Whenever you perform eject, there will be somebody who will come along in the future and say, yeah, I saw a magician and a pen jumped out of his pocket and he caught it 6 foot in the air or something like that, because that is such a cartoon moment, you will remember it. But also you can use it, as well as those fun things, you can use it to close your show. Like you'll see in the trailer, there's a great application for sort of closing your whole show with it. There is the stand-up use. Kids, guys can use with a magic wand. There's just a million things to do. So yeah, the first time you do it, the joy coursing through you will be quite immense.
I mean, at one point, I think, did I have 3 of them? I had a lot of different prototypes that were still working. But they had different issues. But when I had them all, I had them set up all over the place, so that I could just walk about the house and go, try and catch it as I was walking by. Just put it in my pocket and walk into the other room, catch another one. Just because it's so much fun to do.
I guarantee as well, if you are, when you get this thing, and hopefully some of you guys do, when you get it, when you start to practice it, if you have any plans to go to bed that night, like it ain't happening. The moment obviously me and Roddy, no one has fired the thing and caught it more than me and Roddy in the world. And still now, I'll go on the kitchen table. If I think, it's 2:00 in the morning, I should go to bed. The moment I start again, I'm just going to go bind, but it's just like hours and hours and hours. And the battery just seems to never quit. You could do thousands of fires. I've done hundreds. I mean, you go to bed and you think, oh right, okay, I can see the sun coming up. I should go to bed.
So we tried to do our sort of due diligence when it came to battery life, because Noel said to me, right, okay, this is on your to-do list. Just fire it as often as you can. Just count how many times you've fired it so we can get an estimate. And I honestly gave up. I mean, I was enjoying firing it and stuff, but after I'd done it hundreds and hundreds of times, I thought, right, let's just say it lasts a long time. But I'm using my same unit, which it's in the office, and every time I walk by the shelf, I have it sat like this. Oh, hold on. So I've got a roll of tape, and it sits like that on my shelf. And when I walk into my office, I take the remote off the other shelf and fire it towards myself. I'm not going to sit down. But I haven't charged this since Magic Live. And at Magic Live, God knows how many times I fired it. So, yeah, it's got a good battery as well, is the headline there, I suppose.
I love what you did at Magic Live, where you had the two bags and you were dropping it in the one bag and it was coming out in the other bag. It reminds me, you probably don't remember, there was a double act many, many years ago in Magic called The Wizards of Odd. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Jonty Sparrow and...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember they did it, yeah.
And they were
brilliant.
They were, and they had this wonderful routine where they had the box. They both had a box. Good. They were dropping things in one box, and it was coming out the other person's box, and it went on for ages. And I saw you do that, Roddy, at Magic Live, and I was like, you know what? That would be a great premise for bringing that type of effect back. It was just brilliant, and it just showed the versatility of the prop. You're right, Noel. Kids entertainers can use this. Forget about the magic wand, just with a Sharpie. You can have. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and he said he plans on having Rocky Raccoon make a prediction. So he drops a piece of paper into a thing with Rocky Raccoon. He drops a Sharpie, and then the Sharpie flies out, and he takes out the prediction or whatever. There's so many different ways a kids entertainer can do it. There's so many different ways you can perform it on stage. I love the moment in the trailer when they drop it down the trousers and it flies back up again. That's freaking brilliant.
Good silly shit. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, what we want is when people get this thing, tag us in it, show us those videos. We will share those. We want to see, all those fun things. Like me and Roddy have thought about, I'd say little else. We've thought about plenty of other things as well with other projects. But this is all, we always come back to this and thinking, what crazy bonkers ideas. And the portal routine with the two bags was a gift from Max, who came to see us at the stand day one, I think. Yeah. And then he bought one that night, probably on the Friday, and he came back the next day and said, could he get another paper bag? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I was exhausted at that time. I was like, yeah, sure. But the idea of bending down to pick it up I was like, yeah, there you go. Here's another paper bag. He said, I've got an idea. And he filmed the video and showed it to me. I was like, okay, this is brilliant. And then, I mentioned to Roddy in the brief moments where we could have been eating or sat down, and pretty much straight away we started doing it that day, and it was like a massive gift from him. He showed us a great little thing, and something that passed us by. And I bet you that's what will happen when in the journey of this, I don't know, trick product, stunt. That there'll be more mad ideas. Not long ago, I went to see Alakazam, and Jamie Dawes had a fantastic idea of something that would never have come to me because it's a million miles away from my sort of brain. But spirit cabinets and people doing that kind of the spooky stuff. You go, absolutely, yeah. Like you think of the visual thing. You could also, probably do it as an almost an unseen thing of just, like you didn't know anything about it. Suddenly that's happened. It's you think of it as just as the, we're all sort of close-up magicians or certainly that's the background, and thinking, oh, you want it to be as visual and cool as possible, but there's loads of things you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can roll up a card and put a band around it, pop that in it, and it will go for miles. But we do recommend you only put a Sharpie in it, but, you know, you can do that. And I'm sure people will do lots of other things that invalidate their warranty, but that's up to them.
But, you know, just for a close-up magician, and I've done this now because I picked mine up at Magic Live, obviously, and I've performed it at a few gigs now. And just having that moment where the thing flies out the pocket. I know some people are going to look at this as, oh, it's a gag. It's not a gag. It's such an incredibly strong moment of magic. Like if you just say, I need a pen, boom. It just feels, if you could do magic, this is what you would do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think definitely. I was I had that whole thing of like, yeah, I can see it's a gag, right? And yeah, I would like that. I would like one of those. Then I thought, would I buy it? Would I if I saw it for sale? And I wasn't sure. I thought, yeah, do you know what? I probably would. I think that'd be good. But I was wildly underestimating it. I know this sounds like, well, I mean, this is a sales pitch, isn't it? That's what we're doing. But genuinely, I've been completely honest in my opinion here that as soon as you get it, as soon as you start playing with it, you just kind of fall in love with it. And it's mad. It's mad. I did not expect that at all. And like everyone who I've met since who's had a shot of it, sort of friends of mine, they're like, well, when can I buy one?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know?
I always think of it as, you know, talking about walking up to a group of people. In many ways, like it is the modern day fire wallet. You can't. I imagine there's somewhere somebody's using a fire wallet still, but the stink of petrol and the lighter fluid and the fact that venues don't want you doing those things. But when you think of the merits of it, you are thinking, okay, I've got something that people from 10, 20 feet away will see what I'm doing and will go, what the hell happened there? If you're an event with high ceilings, which is the privilege of most close-up magicians to work at events with high ceilings or outside or a daylight thing, if you fire that thing and it jumps 8-10 feet in the air, which it can do if you set it to that, and you catch a thing, if anyone's watching they're like, even peripherally, they're sipping champagne, that is the moment they go, oh my god, there's a magician over there, I'm so excited, I can't wait till he comes to us. It can play as big as you want it to be. If you just want to be the cool guy, boom. Or if you want, pretty much everyone in the room to see it, then you can play it like that as well.
I have one here that one of the prototype ones that was 3D printed, and it's open. If you want me to show you what it looks like inside quickly.
Yeah, sure.
So it was just the mechanism that they did in it is great. I'll not show you it for too long, but it's so clever because it's got a double locking mechanism. So when you put the pen in, as soon as it goes in, there's a sensor that lights to know the pen's in there, so it won't fire unless it knows it's in there. So it's got these little sensors that tell you when it's totally locked, and other sorts of fancy stuff. Is this going to be too high here? I'm going to fire it. I know it was fine. And as Noel said, you can go from a few feet to I think about 20 feet.
It'll certainly go to 15 feet, and if
you've got it at an angle and you're firing it across the stage to yourself, like we were talking about, if you've got a vent act and you put the doll into the case and you throw your pen in, and then as you're walking away, it fires back at you. You can cover a decent sized stage, if you've got this angled. Which is it's my new favourite thing. I hadn't really thought about the throwing it into a box thing. And it was Noel had said, he said, did we not discuss this? And I was like, no. And he said, yeah, you toss it into a box. And then I spent days doing it, and my kids were all doing it. They were like, can I get a shot now? Which is like when we came to the trailer, our first kind of idea for the trailer, and this was really the first kind of thing. You'll see, obviously, the proper trailer, but my first instinct was to say, look, let's do a trailer that is just full of clips of people trying it and catching it for the first time, just so you can see the joy of it. Just ordinary magicians, there's lots of people, and we did get a bit of that. But I'm here to say that bit now, saying honestly, it's great fun. basically.
It really is.
And Roddy does make a good note about the safety being a paramount thing, and it's a dull and not exciting thing. But there is, like Roddy said, there's a double locking mechanism on the unit. We teach, on the instructions, watch instructions properly. I know magicians are notorious for going, I got the rough gist. This is something I urge you, watch instructions properly, because the thing is moving fast. We teach you how to use it safely. It's double locking, so you are safe. You just need to know how this unit works.
Well, we've definitely learned from our own mistakes. Some of the early prototypes and the early remotes and stuff like that. I was taking them out and gigging with them, and there's a few direct hits by me. Just carelessness and things like the locking mechanism not locking properly and stuff, and me mishandling it, or the remote not being quite right. So yeah, I took a few in the face for this, just to get it safe. And
we've got it figured out now.
Exactly. Yeah. But that we get rid of all that sort of stuff, and I was the sort of crash test dummy for it. But yeah, it's the guys at Ultramantic are great. They took what we said, and they just kept they offered lots of different suggestions. What about this? We think this would be best, and they nailed it. They definitely nailed it.
They really did. Like, I've been using it because I do a lot of pen manipulation. I've been using it walk around at the end of a pen manipulation act. So I end up vanishing the pen as I'm going to sign the card, and then boom, it just comes back. Almost like as a coin from head. They don't see it come out the pocket. So it's kind of a thing that just happens. It's people are going to find so many different fun ways of using this.
There's loads of novel ways, and there's on the trailer, we don't necessarily drill down into those, particularly on the instructions, because once you've got it, you'll know exactly what's going on. I've had a few messages where someone said, I'm interested in two tricks that you've got. I'm interested in the bouncing Sharpie and also the one that fires in the air. So, well, I've got good news and bad news. They are the good news is you get the same money. They are the same trick. The bouncing. The big secret there is it's not really bouncing. One Sharpie staying on the floor. So if you're in an environment where you've got a drape or something that blocks it, or if you're doing a stand-up show and you've got your table there, just something to block it, and that's where the unit's going to be on the floor. So if you see the bouncing stuff, I didn't think we need to explain, but I thought we'd put it in the trailer, and I know we get more messages saying, "Where's my bouncing Sharpie?" Okay, look, that's how magic tricks work. There's a little bit of a secret.
I was honestly surprised. Yeah, I was on. We got that Magic Live. Quite a few people would say, "Okay, right," and I would show them the unit, because what happened was I put a unit down on the floor and a roll of tape between us, and I said, "Look, we've got one between us." I set up a box, and I sort of sellotaped onto TCC's stand. They were fine. They've
got to be fine now. We've long since left Magic Live, but it definitely was on their stand.
I taped one of those so that I could fire one from the back of the stand diagonally towards me. That wasn't working out because there was a lot of... When we first arrived, we realised that there was these kind of spotlights above us, so every time we fired up, we stared directly into the spotlight, and you'd be like... But we worked it out. We worked it all out, and I put the one in the floor, and I thought, we can have one that we can just both go like this, and it'll come up between us, and it'll be a nice, easy thing to catch. And when I stood up, I realised, well, if I drop one, I wonder if I can. And right away, I was like, oh, that looks great. That looks great as a bouncy thing. And we showed so many people. I'd take the unit out of my pocket, I'd say, it does this. You've got a remote, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, that's great. How does the bouncing one work? But I guess to say,
behind there's 50 Sharpies on the floor. It's a weird thing. The great
that's the thing.
Las Vegas Magic, still slightly confused by the heaving amount of Sharpies on the floor.
Well, that's the thing. When we worked out, right, this is what we'll do as our little kind of showpiece thing. It was like, so what Noel's part of this was to take a Sharpie and drop it into a bag, and that was his. He was done at that point. And then what I had to do was have one remote, catch it, walk over to the front, switch the remote for another one, throw it on the floor and catch that one as well, and then fire one from my pocket as a sort of finale. So, yeah, I think I did my part there.
You did.
Wow. And you know, I mean, there's nothing really else to say about it. It is what it is. You've been so honest about it. You've been so honest about what the trick is, what it does, how it operates, where you can use it, where you can't use it. Like you did, it's, you know, sometimes magicians will buy stuff, and you know, we've all done it. When you buy something and then you get it and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. I'm going to put it in the bottom drawer. This is not going to be for me. No one's going to do that with this trick because you guys have been so open about exactly what it is.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
no
people need
surprises.
to know, right? I mean, so this fits perfectly into a card box, which is great as well. Pop it in a card box. This is the remote as well. I have the it comes with an extra button. The button's recessed so that when it's in your pocket, you're not going to press it by accident. But you get this extra little foam button to put on there if you're going to use it as an arm strap, because it comes with a strap as well. Because I quite like using the arm strap. I put it round the back here. So the only way to fire it is to gesture like this, which I'm not doing very often. But if I'm looking for a pen and I put my hand out here and click, I can fire it and catch it here. So yeah, it's just to give another option with it. You get the strap, so you can maybe put it on your belt, and that way you can access it just by touching in the right area. But in the remote, it's not. It takes a little disc battery, so there's no sort of recharging involved with that. You just pop a new battery in, but it'll last like hundreds and hundreds and many wonderful fires. So yeah, this is the whole business.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant. And yeah, so I mean, it's out now, basically.
Yeah.
Just come
They'll be
out.
watching this Sunday. Yeah, it'll be out now. Yeah, absolutely.
Through just through Trick Trick Boom for now, right?
Yeah, just through us guys, and you know, if we know, I've been feeding them. You know, there's been a feeding frenzy of people desperate for this thing for so long, and hundreds of emails and messages and Facebook comments and likes. So yeah, we haven't got tons from this first batch. So I know this is the classic cliche, but it is absolutely the truth. I'm looking at the box that we've got. There is not tons. We've got some in the US. We've got some here. And yeah, there will be hopefully we're getting more made, but like if you want them, get in quick.
I know it is weird. Everyone does say that we don't have many, but genuinely we were getting quite because we had a couple of issues with
Well, I'm not
things.
surprised. You sold a fuck ton at Magic Live.
Yeah, we sold tons at Magic Live. I got a message you'll see on the trailer, but like Justin Willman sent a message, you know, a week or two ago saying it's now permanently in my show. Can I get 3 more? Now, Justin Willman's not a rent-a-quote guy. He's you know, proper, you know, Magic royalty and you know, Netflix specials and all that stuff. He's not, so, you know, it's genuine in the show. It's in Jack Rhodes' show, every single show. It's in Trig Watson. It's in all of these people's show. Piff's doing it all the time. You know, at Magic Live, the people that came to buy the thing was Matt Franco and all like proper Vegas stars came to buy it. And, you know, and normal civilian magicians, just your average guys, but because they've seen it. And certainly if you are you know, if you're a big time magician, often you're very careful about your material, thinking, you know, will I add a new piece of my act? Does it work? But the good thing is, if nothing else, even if you just thought, you know what, at some point, we're all getting cards signed or banknotes signed, or like you said, a pen manipulation act, all these things we're all doing. But there is a use for pretty much everybody. Like, you know, if you're a juggler, you can, you know, you want to juggle, you know, a couple of pens and you drop one and the pen can fire up. Or a event act or a kids entertainer, close-up magician or stand-up spot. At some point, you will think, I need a Sharpie, and then this will be the answer. And all of the things that we've talked about could be used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I genuinely today, I was writing. I had a little idea for the next time I go to the castle because I want to go back in it, and I don't want to do the same show again as much as I would love to do the same show again because I spent a lot of time in that. But I genuinely started writing a new show for the castle today, and I'm going to need 2 or 3 of them at least. So they're definitely in there as a larger sort of pen-based motif. So
that's coming out of your pocket money, that is.
Yeah.
Well, outside of that, because I know you guys are busy, Do you have anything else lined up between now and Blackpool? Are we
Yeah.
going to see anything else coming out?
Well, I think the cat is out of the bag, so we'll have something gorilla themed that is coming. I'm not going to say a date because we don't know, but that is coming sooner rather than later, and that is absolutely phenomenal. And you know, I no doubt when that comes out, we will be back on. But it is, me and Roddy absolutely love Ape. It is phenomenal. So no point talking about too much because they can't get it, but it is phenomenal. That's coming soon. We will finally, and this is a promise, we will have two things that originally came out at Blackpool 24 and have yet to see the light of day. As discards, which will be the next trick after eject, which we love, and keypad, which, you know, a lot of people haven't seen. If you've seen us at a convention, you've seen us dem it, but that is a lot of people's absolute fave. Keypad will be out before Blackpool, and then we've got, I mean, I reckon conservatively 4 new tricks for Blackpool. So we're absolutely, I mean,
everything is crossed for that.
Yeah, everything is crossed, but we are thundering towards Blackpool. And then we've got an even, you know, another crazy thing for Magic Live for next year, you know. So it is, we're a 2-man band that is hopefully maybe not financially, but certainly work effort outperforming, you know, bigger companies, because we are absolutely killing ourselves with this.
Yes, you are. You guys rock. You are bloody awesome.
So do you. Thank you.
I love hanging out with you guys. I'm very proud of the fact that Ape is coming out with you guys at some point soon, and I know I don't have to say good luck with it with Eject, because I know that you are going to kill it. I see the list of huge names that are already using it in their show, and it's fun. It's just fun. It's the sort of thing that you put in your pocket, and you're just going to be doing it forever. It just lives in my close-up case. Ryland and Thea are doing it in their show. It's just amazing.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to take this back into the studio and give it a full review. Spoiler, it's going to be a freaking great review. But remember, the only place you can get this is Trick Trick Boom. So go to the Trick Trick Boom website, sign up for a newsletter while you're there, pick it up, and you can go and you can get it immediately, and you can see what all the fuss is about. But Noel, Roddy, thank you so much, guys.
Show us the box again. Show us the box again. Let's see. It's shiny. Oh,
it is a lovely box. Lovely box.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Guys, you are amazing. Now let's head back into the studio.
Waving.
Now I want to say thank you so much to Roddy and Noel. I want to say thank you for doing that interview with me. They are very, very busy, and they found time to do that, which was amazing. Now, as well as doing the interview, I want to say that I'm really good friends with Roddy and Noel. I have a lot of respect for them, but the review that you're going to get is 100% impartial and unbiased. With that being said, let's talk about what you need to know. Eject is a system. It's a system. This is it right here. Let me just take it out. This is the system. This is Eject. And what this allows you to do is fire a Sharpie marker up in the air. Now, it is the perfect size to put into a top pocket, and it is the perfect size to just sit there until you need it. So if you are a close-up worker, you can nuzzle that into your top pocket. You can have a Sharpie in your top pocket. Anytime you need one, boom, you can snap your fingers and the pen can come flying out, which is amazing. Now, a lot of people will be looking at this as kind of like, well, maybe that's some sort of gag, right? It's a gag. They know it's flying out the pocket. Well, absolutely, yes, they do. But it's the coolest thing ever. I do a lot of pen manipulation in my act. I do a lot of stuff where I'll make a pen, you know, I'll say, hey, can I borrow that? Boom, and I'll pull a pen out of their ear. I'll make the pen disappear. I'll jump from over there over to there. I'll jump from over there over to there. And I'll have a bunch of pen manipulation. How I've been using this, or one of the ways I've been using this, is to do that pen manipulation, make the pen vanish, and then make it reappear right here, which looks incredible. It looks really, really good. And they just never see it coming. I'll give you another example of something that I'm doing with it at the moment. Load this with a red pen, right? And then bring out a black pen from your pocket, and put it in their hand and say, look, I'm going to give you this, but I don't want you to look at the cap. Don't look at the cap. I don't want you to look at the color of this Sharpie pen. and you say, look, I want you to think of a color, and you force red on them. And I've got a really cool way of doing that, but you force red on them. And then when you've forced red on them, you say, right, you're not going to believe this. Open up your hand. And they open up your hand and it's black. And you go, well, that's because I'm a magician. I'm not a minder. I can't read minds. As a magician, my job is to do the impossible. You wanted red. Watch this. Boom. And a red pen just flies out of your pocket into your hand. It looks killer. This is the sort of thing that you can do with this. This is only limited by your imagination. If you're a close-up worker, this is absolutely phenomenal. Now, you have the main unit. As well as the main unit, you've got a few other things, but one of the things I want to show you is this. So this is the remote control. What's nice about this is it's very easy to feel the button. You see some remote controls and there's like 4 buttons on them and 3 of them are redundant and they don't work. So if you're trying to do this in your pocket, you're in trouble. This is a very easy button to get if you've got your hand in your pocket. Now, the guys at Trick Boom, especially Roddy McGee, he has it on his arm, and you actually get all of the stuff in here so that you can actually do it and have it strapped to your arm, and that's absolutely well and good. I tend to have it in my pocket and I palm it out when I need to do it, or I'll just reach into my pocket sometimes. But there's an awful lot that you can do with this. You can even run a belt through this as well if you want, which I've found. But the remote control works exactly as it's meant to work, but you press the remote control and you can fire the pen up in the air. Now this control down here will dictate how high it will go. So if you're outside, for example, or if you're in a venue with a really high ceiling, you can have it go higher than if it was, for example, inside in this sort of room. You wouldn't want it to go up that high. What's nice about this is you will be doing this almost immediately. The tutorial's not that long. It doesn't really need to be that long. You have to watch the whole tutorial because you need to make sure that you understand how the unit works. And there's a little bit of practice when it comes to catching the pen. You know, it's not something that's difficult, but it's something you need a bit of practice. You also want to practice getting the right height. You want to kind of play around with it a bit until you've got the right height. Once you've got that sweet spot, and I've found my sweet spot now, you can use that same height every single time, and then it's just a matter of catching the actual pen. Now, outside of close-up, this works in so many other environments. And on the trailer that you watched, you saw a bunch of other ways that this could be done as well. On stage is great. You know, one of the things that we're doing with Ryland and Thea at the moment is an extension of what Roddy and Noel did on the trailer, where Thea's behind one table, and it's got kind of we've had a wooden box built that's kind of like a teleportation type device. It looks like a teleportation device, and it's actually a squared circle, which is really cool. And Ryland's got the same in front of his, and they're talking about teleporting things from one place to another. And because it's a squared circle, you can actually show that the box is empty, you can show that the tube is empty, and you have the entire time you actually have inside there the actual gimmick, and what we've which is great. If you know a squared circle, you know how it works. But I've got 2 squared circles designed to look like lots of diodes and wires and stuff, and you know, Ryan and Thea are both showing the boxes, they're both showing the tubes, but they're hidden all of the stuff that's in there, because what's happening is Thea's putting a Rubik's cube in one box, it's coming out the other box and just showing it empty every single time. You're dropping a pen in here, it's coming out of there. We've got a jet fountain set up inside there as well. So the jet fountain, you drop the cards in here, they fly up in the air out there. And we've got this whole teleportation thing, and the kids are wearing white coats, and it's this whole pseudo-science type thing. And that's using 2 ejects. And that's a fantastic stage routine, just building it into that. If you're a kids entertainer, being able to have the pen fly from the from the box into your hand, like let's say you've thrown it in the box and it comes flying back out again, or with a kids show entertainer, having it behind your case, having one set up so you throw it on the floor and it bounces back up in the air like you saw in the trailer. There's so many different ways you can do it. You could have a prediction for a Rocky Raccoon or something, where you've got Rocky Raccoon in the case and his tail's sticking out, and you're throwing a pen in there, and then he throws the pen out when he's made the prediction, and you reach in and the prediction's correct. Look, it's limited only by your imagination. I did love on the trailer, I can't remember who did it, I'm terrible, Matt Edwards, I think, but I really love the idea of having the pen fly out with the card around it, almost like a card sword. As the cards are flying out, the pen flies out with the card around it as well. I think that's a super smart idea. Honestly, I think it's a cliche, isn't it? It's a cliche. You know, limited only by your imagination. That's what so many people say. But this really is limited only by your imagination. There are so many different ways that you can do this. There's so many different ways that you can actually perform this. There's so many different ways that you can actually incorporate this into an act. And honestly, I love it. That's all I can say. I absolutely freaking love this. And every single time I sit down and think about it, I come up with other ways of doing it. I've got 4 of them. I'm about to contact Noel and get another 4. Like, this is the sort of thing that I could see some, like a family entertainer or something, have these everywhere. Like, pens are flying around all over the place. I could see, you know, if this was around back when... who's the guy that won FISM with the pen act? Rick Merrill, who did the whole homeschooled act and did all the stuff with the Sharpie markers. If this was around when Rick Merrill did his FISM act, I could have imagined him using this brilliantly. I really could. It's super fun. It's great. And it's rare to see a trick that will work for a family entertainer, a stage entertainer, a close-up entertainer. But this really does run the gauntlet. I think that Roddy and Noel have got something here very, very special. I think Roddy and Noel have created something that I think is going to be a standard effect that people are going to buy from this point on in the magic community. I think this is going to be something that a lot of people get. And I think this is going to be something that you're going to see pop up on Got Talent shows, because just even if it's a sight gag, even if you could see Piff doing this. I know Piff was on the trailer doing it, but you could see Piff doing this, couldn't you? When he was on AGT and, you know, like just throws the pen on the floor and it bounces back up into your hand or something. You could see stuff. I could see so many people doing this in sort of a TV spot. Really good. It's great. I love it. I mean, I love it. I proper love it. There's a lot of tricks this year that are vying for Trick of the Year. I know that The Button by Chris James. There's a bunch of stuff that I honestly think is potentially Trick of the Year, but this is right up there, regardless of whether it wins Trick of the Year or not. I at the moment, I think it's my favourite trick that's come out that hasn't got me attached to it. I think it's brilliant. I really do. And I can't see anyone disappointed. You know, sometimes you see people bring out a trick and then weeks later it's all over the selling forums on Facebook. I don't think this is going to be, because I think they've been very, very honest as to what it is. I think they've been very honest about what it is, what it does. And I don't think there's anything people are going to be able to say about that. I think that... yeah, it's great. I love it. I love it. I proper love this. I'm going to give this 150%. Eject by Noel Qualter and Roddy McGee is absolutely brilliant. And the only place you can get it is from Trick Trick Boom. So, Roddy, Noel, thank you for bringing this out and thank you for doing the interview with me. Everybody, you can go pick it up now. Please do. Eject is awesome. Outside of that, thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. You want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You want to join the Netrix, which is my online streaming platform for magicians, just go to thenetrix.com. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig and this is Magic TV.